Today's lesson is Chapter 8, Lesson 6, which can be found on pages 583 through 588 in your textbook. Our objective is I can compare fractions by using the least common denominator. Vocabulary is least common denominator. Question 1. The first step is to find the least common multiple of the blank. Question 2. To find an equivalent fraction, whatever I do to the numerator, I must do to the blank.
Compare fractions. Trevor made 2 out of 3 goals he attempted, and Tyler made 5 out of 6 goals. Who made the greater fraction of goals? Let's begin by looking at fraction models. Trevor made 2 out of 3 goals, and Tyler made 5 out of 6 goals. The models show that 5/6 is greater than 2/3. How can we compare the fractions without using models? We can find the least common denominator. First, let's find the least common multiple of the denominators. We need to find multiples of 3 and 6. List the first 4 multiples. The least common multiple of 3 and 6 is 6. Next, we need to find an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 6 for each fraction. Since 3 times 2 equals 6, multiply the numerator and denominator of 2/3 by 2. So 4/6 is equivalent to 2/3. Since 6 times 1 equals 6, multiply the numerator and denominator of 5/6 by 1. Finally, let's compare the numerators. Since 5 is greater than 4, then 5/6 is greater than 4/6. So 5/6 is greater than 2/3. Both methods show that 5/6 is greater than 2/3.
Okay, so let's take a look at this in your book. I'm on page 583. And up here it talks about least common denominator, and it says that basically a least common denominator is the least common multiple of the denominators. So we can use that to help us compare fractions that have different denominators. So in this example, this is the one from the video of Trevor and Tyler. So I'm going to scroll to the next page. Okay, so in this example, it gives 3/5 and 1/2. And we have to figure out which fraction is larger. So first we can find the least common multiple of the denominators. So you could list some of the multiples like we've already learned to do. Okay, so when I listed out the multiples, they would go on for a while, but I stopped here because the least common multiple that they have is 10. So that could be our common denominator, our least common denominator in this case. So we have to change them to have a denominator of 10, so it's an equivalent fraction. So for 3/5, we would have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2. And that would give us 6/10. And then for 1/2, we would have to multiply to get a denominator of 10, both the numerator and the denominator by 5. So 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 5 is 10. So now that we have the same denominator, we can compare them more easily. So we can just look at the numerators then. So 3/5, which is an equivalent fraction of 6/10, the 6 is greater than 5/10, so 3/5 is then greater than 1/2. And this is what it would look like drawn out. Alright, so look back at these two questions, and remember, look back at what the first step in finding the least common multiple would be, and then for the equivalent fraction, whatever you do to the numerator, you must do to the blank. So answer that in the form, please.